Welcome to How to Become a Production SQL Database Administrator. My name is Raphael. In the previous video, we downloaded the three applications that we needed: the VMware Workstation 12, the Windows Server 2012 operating system, and the SQL Server 2012 application. And if you noticed, I asked you to go to I showed you the three tabs that we were going to go to, and then I asked you to download this. We've already downloaded the VMware Workstation. We've already downloaded the ISO file, and hopefully we've already downloaded the Microsoft evaluation. So these are relatively straightforward, easy things to do. Just click on download for the server evaluation. It may ask you for your email address. Just continue with that and download it to your downloads file. And I've done all three already, and as you know, for the previous one, we've already also installed this. So now we're ready to actually create a VM for our domain controller and add the operating system. So this is what this video is going to be about. So since we've already installed it, let me just minimize this and minimize this. We don't need that. So now we can go to your icon with the workstation and double click it, and it should open the virtual environment here, VMware Workstation. As you can see, I don't have any VMs or virtual machines, so I'm now going to create one. So the easiest way to do it is just go here and say create a new VM virtual machine. Obviously this is the first wizard screen that pops up. We're going to follow basically the typical configurations. We don't really necessarily need the advanced motions we may do when we're doing a in the later course for high availability solutions and clustering. But right now, typical is fine. So click next. Obviously, it's going to ask you where the operating system is, and so navigate to your file where you've got the ISO file for the operating system. Here's mine. So I'm going to click it and go open. You'll see it says Windows 2012 detected, so that's a good thing. And click next. It's going to ask for obviously the Windows product key, but obviously this is an evaluation, so we're not going to do that. So click next. You do have the options of selecting which version of the operating system. Since it's defaulted to data center, that's fine. We can do that. It's better to have that rather than standard, although standard will suffice also. So go click next. Obviously, we want to name this virtual machine, so I'm going to rename it domain controller, as this is going to be the domain controller. And obviously this is where the VM is located, into this folder right here. So you may want to look at your paths and see where it's located if you want to access that. So click next. Obviously it's going to ask for sizing of the disk. It's recommending 60 gigs for this server, so I'm just going to leave it as default and click next. Now obviously it's ready to create the virtual machine and and install the operating system. So click finish, and it's going to begin. So now the windows will pop up, and now obviously it's going to detect the operating system, and it's started loading the files. Now this process of loading and installing the operating system is relatively easy, actually. Microsoft has made it even easier and easier for virtually everything nowadays with the applications. So when this starts, I'm just going to pause the video, and then we'll come back to it at the appropriate times, because this does take about anywhere from 20 to 25 to 30 minutes, depending on your system. Now, one thing to note, as I have been mentioning constantly, is this is a self-contained system. So this virtual machine is a separate entity than your operating system here. So if any problems occur here, it does not affect your underlying system. So that's a great way of looking at it. So now, as you can see, the Windows setup is started, and it's going to start to install the Windows 2012 operating system. And as I said, this will take about 20 minutes. So I'm going to pause this video now, and when it's finished, or whenever the next window that's appropriate, I'll come back and we'll begin there. So we'll see you in a few minutes here. And we're back, and as you can see, the operating system has been installed, and this is the first screen that pops up, which is the server manager. And so we'll just minimize this for time being right now. So now that we have the Windows Server, let's just close that window. Now that we have the operating system install. In the next video, what I'm going to demonstrate is how to make this a domain server. And as you can see, and let me just illustrate a couple of things here you can do in the virtual machine. If you just want to change the size of the screen, obviously if you want a full screen, this is the enter the full screen mode. You'll notice that now you can see the full screen mode. However, if you want to go back to it, you can. If you want to see if you want to eliminate this pane, just select this button, and that's about it. And then obviously if you want to go home, here you can, if you wanted to create another virtual machine. So now this is the domain controller, or actually it's not a domain controller yet. This is an operating system, Windows 2012 operating system. And in the next video, I'm going to promote this to a domain controller. So we'll start from there. And my name is Raphael, and this is how to become a production SQL database administrator.